Not me. Jimmy Dore isn't lying about the vaccines. Jimmy Dore is telling you the 100% truth about them.
That is not what curate means. Curating content does not mean taking real news articles, editing them, taking out their meaning, and taking out scientific statements, and then presenting them as fact. The word for that is lying. You are lying. You are lying to your audience. Oh, hello. If you were watching the show a couple days ago, you may have enjoyed us watching Sean's latest video. The topic was Jimmy Dore and how he lies to you. Jimmy Dore is a liar. It turns out Jimmy Dore has been spreading quite a bit of, I should say, anti-vax information. Now, Jimmy Dore, I had thought for the longest time, was doing a system where he basically highlights parts from news articles he likes that proves a narrative that he's trying to push. That's what I thought had been happening for a very long time. Similar to how Lawrence Southern does it. Not as insidious, of course. He's not doing it to, claim that the mass graves of Indigenous children in Canada are a hoax. He's not doing that. But he is using it, little snippets of news articles to justify promoting things such as ivermectin. Talking about them, saying, look at this study, or talking about the CDC, look at what they say, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, Sean made a really good video about it. Turns out he does much worse than that. He actually adds and removes words in articles, so he changes words and then adds words in order to change the purpose of what the article itself is trying to show. As in, he manipulates news articles and then lies to you. That's really, really bad. There's one thing, like, myself, for example, I put a news article up on the screen, I read it out loud because I'm reading fast, and I'm a fool sometimes. I misinterpret what it's saying, and then I start rambling, and I'm like, well, it's clearly based on this, do you see this, everyone? Common dreams are said, blah, blah, blah. And then, ideally, I'll look over at the chat. The chat will just fill up with, Lance, you're an idiot. That's not what it says. And then I'll look back and then course correct. That's something that can happen. It would be a very, very different thing if I came out here and I said, hey, everybody, look at this. Turns out capitalism's bad because of this. And then show you a news article where I had edited the article itself. I had taken words out. I had added things, little commas here, a couple words there, sliced in a word there. Like, I know Jimmy Dore is an opinion piece, okay? So am I. So is any, person on the internet who does this kind of stuff. But this is going to new heights of fake news, shall we say, a popular vernacular. Anyways, Jimmy Dore, I guess, it was brought to his attention, so he's made an official response.
So here's some. Again, I'm not going to read you the whole letter because nobody ever does that, by the way. When you do a news segment, you have to curate. If I would come on here and take a news segment and read the whole thing, that would be ridiculous, right? Nobody does that. When I started at the Young Turks, you pick out pieces of each article and then you elaborate on those pieces. I do that. And no one reads the whole goddamn article. This isn't a fucking school for the blind. I'm not reading news articles for the blind. Okay.
Now, further down the article, Jimmy Dore does something even worse than simply selectively quote the article. He actually changes the text in order to better suit his argument. He snips out the sentence, making it clear that these policies were the previous policies, the policies that were lifted, and he puts the word despite in there. Now, the word despite is not in this paragraph in the original article, and this makes it seem like these policies are current, ongoing policies. He's rewriting what the article says to make it say something different.
Not me. Jimmy Dore isn't lying about the vaccines. Jimmy Dore is telling you the 100% truth about them.
That is not what curate means. Curating content does not mean taking real news articles, editing them, taking out their meaning, and taking out scientific statements, and then presenting them as fact. The word for that is lying. You are lying. You are lying to your audience. Now, Jimmy Dore has such a long history with conspiracy theories, okay? I don't think it's been very widely covered, or not enough people talk about it, the amount of conspiracy theories that this man has been pushing on the general public through his show over the years. And a lot of it, I think he got away with because he's always got the auspices of being, I'm a comedian, this is comedy. Jimmy, I myself consider myself a person who can formulate sentences, but I also consider myself a comedian, for better or for worse, and I don't think that gives me the right to, on my show, put up a news article which I will claim is factual, in which I have manipulated and edited the article to fit my own narrative. I would call that being duplicitous, being sneaky, being a liar, just being a flat-out liar. And also, when it comes to medical misinformation, very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. I know everyone got really upset when I was going full in on the horse memes, because I'm sorry, but it was just very funny, and so that's why I did what I did. But I was very clear in every single instance that I've talked about ivermectin in relation to either Jimmy Dore or Joe Rogan. I never did the CNN thing, all right? I'd made jokes where I'm like, oh, they're getting high on the horse strip, yeah, get down on the horse pace, all that kind of stuff. But I would always end in a serious manner saying, yes, they are taking ivermectin intended for humans, which has been prescribed to them by their rich celebrity Hollywood doctors. And the problem is, as they take those drugs prescribed by doctors which are intended for humans, people, average Americans, do not have access to that. So in their desperation, seeing their favorite podcasters and YouTubers saying ivermectin is very effective in treating COVID-19, Joe Rogan being like, bro, got the kitchen sink, bro, ivermectin, you know, Z-Pack, you name it, the whole kitchen sink. They're then going to be like, oh, wow, I need to get my hands on this life-saving medication, not be able to do so, at which point you have the phenomenon of Americans buying ivermectin intended for horses or cattle or whatever they can get their hands on, taking it and getting very, very sick as a result, and it's a very sad thing. So yes, Joe Rogan did not say, go out and buy horse paste. He never once said that. He said he was taking ivermectin intended for humans. The problem being what happens afterwards, when not everyone gets access to that. Jimmy Dore dubiously blames his producer for manipulating the article. Oh, even more interesting.
This graphic here was put together by my producer, and he joined together two sentences that didn't go together, and he added a word, despite. So if you're going to add a word, you have to put brackets around it so people know you've added a word and it wasn't in the source text. He didn't do that. And then he changed the tense of these two words to make it fit syntactically or grammatically with the rest of the sentence. Now, you could combine two sentences, but you have to put a ... and then so people know that you're jumping ahead. And so, but that didn't do that. Plus, that was supposed to be a period, and he put a comma. And then he put this, and it actually changed the meaning of this sentence. It didn't mean what. So, by the way, doesn't change. So I have to cover that, right? Because that was fucked up. And I didn't know about that. I had to trust my producer that we went over this.
Throwing your producer under the bus. Was your producer like responsible for all the other ones in that video, Jimmy? Like, you're addressing the most clear violation that you did, which is just directly manipulate the article itself and then state it as fact. Yes, that one's really, really, really bad. But to then throw the producer under the bus. So what my producer was doing was that he basically took the original article, and it didn't make sense grammatically, so we squished parts together, and then we added a word, and then we changed and took out a couple other words, and then now, well, you see this? You see what it's saying? You see this right here? His producer is his wife. I forgot about that. Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse. Oh, yeah, Steph. Yeah. Oh, my. Well, hopefully that has no effect.
Story, he put it together. I had no idea he was going to take two sentences, jam them together, and add a word without putting it in a bracket. So I had no idea when I did this segment originally that had happened. That was done by my producer who put it together. I asked.
So, this is not the first time, by the way, Jimmy Dore has kind of just thrown his staff under the bus for doing something. If you watch this one interview where he's being accused of promoting the Boogaloo Boys. He's asked directly multiple times. He's like, did you not know this about them, Jimmy? Did you not know about like their background? Did you not know about how they believe in an impending civil race war? Did you not know about how they have strong ties to the Turner Diaries? Things like that. Like, did you do any research on this topic at all? Do you know about the Boogaloo meme? Do you know where it comes from? Do you know how it evolved? Do you know why they put like an igloo on their symbol or wear Hawaiian shirts or any of that kind of? And he's like, no. And I was like, well, you've got this show. See, and you've got this massive platform, and unfortunately, when it comes down to it, the editorial staff is really you, and so it kind of behooves you to do this kind of research, to look into these things, to be like, okay, well, maybe I should Google Boogaloo Boys and see if they are actually this organization that has a lot of the same values and beliefs as us.
Asked him why he did it, and he didn't really have a good excuse. He said, I was in a hurry, I got sloppy, and I'm stupid. Unfortunately, he can't be with us anymore because I can't have someone on like that who's sloppy, stupid, and does something like that.
Oh, okay, sorry. So it's not his wife in this instance. It happens to be someone else who is the editor, and he's firing him for doing what I'm sure is something that they were all fully aware of. That's not how you take accountability for being a shitty journalist or a shitty, well, sorry, we're not journalists, we're opinion pieces, but a shitty host, a shitty channel host. You don't go up there and be like, now I didn't do this. I just read what's on the teleprompter.
Clean up your room.
You know, that's just my job. And then I get to tell you why all these, you know, experimental drugs are things you should be taking instead of the vaccine, and why the vaccine is actually really scary, and why does anyone ask about all these rates of, you know, blood clots and other stuff like that. I mean, I'm just asking questions. It's just part of my job. And then because that graphic went up there and I didn't know that it had been manipulated, clearly that was their fault, not mine. I'm honest. My producer is a scumbag who you should all hate and call out. Sean, can you change the name of your video to Jimmy Dore's producer lies to you, and change the thumbnail too, just like under Jimmy Dore, add producer, because that I think is more fair now.
And so unfortunately he's no longer with us. So someone's paid a price for this. So, but Singapore's growing caseload has raised alarms nonetheless because of the speed at which cases have climbed. And there's a period, and he put a comma, and then he jumps down to here. The policy included, so, and then he tried, then he said, despite policies including stay at home. That is not accurate.
I'll be honest. I mean, this was one instance of this. I wonder if anyone else did a deep dive, how many times they could find examples that were just this blatant of manipulating articles to fit a narrative.
And then he didn't put the brackets, and then, so that was wrong. And that was effed up. And the reason why we're correcting that is because it was brought to my attention, and I figured out that actually happened.
Brought to your attention? You mean you were called out in a video by a popular YouTuber?
And I'm correcting it.
Clean up your room.
Because we have integrity at the show. That's all we have is our word.
That's the one thing that is truthful. All they have is their word. And I don't know about you, it would appear the word is turd. I was going to say utter shit, but then I remembered the turd would rhyme with word. So I figured I'd do some comedy, Jimmy. Yeah, that's right. Well, it's good. It's good that someone who was most likely, and this is going to be pure speculation on my part, but it's good that someone who was most likely doing what they'd been doing for a while and what no one had a problem with up until the point that someone actually realized it and called them out, got fired. And then Jimmy Dore gets to throw them under the bus, absolve himself of everything, and be like, yeah, well, I mean, we got rid of the one problem. So now we're going to go back to 100% factual journalism. Journalism. That's what we do over here. It's journalism, all right. Oh, bad, Jimmy. That one's real bad.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free. Just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Just, we will build a ladder to heaven to deliver you the daily news. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are your most humble of clownish jesters. To our lords, Trevor R. and Alexander Thaler, you have our undying fealty. To our knights of the round table, Nate, that one guy, Hagbird Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariana McCarthy, Daniel Sutton, Ants are still running the world, Coulter Smith, Tom Groh, Val 9000, Jenna Tal, Quiet 185, Anna Loves Riley, Riley and Anna, Omni, Poodlehawk, The Tim Caucus, Multimondi, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophojak, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Incosin, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Josh Mickelson, Todd Buckingham, and Todd Lajeunesse. We shall meet you in the tavern, and we raise a drink, and we salute you.